Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I have a book haul here for you. Some really cool things that I do want to check out at some point. I do want to talk about some things you guys have recommended to me before, and I've talked about a little bit here and there, mentioned them briefly on my channel. Some things are Goosebumps books here. Some things are things that are things like Goosebumps, you know? There's a lot of cool things in here I've heard about. I actually had a conversation about a couple of these books this week that I want to talk about with you guys too, just to hear some of your recommendations. So if you've read any of these books, please let me know down in the comments section what you think about them. I'd love to hear that. And just because I like you guys' thoughts, I think you guys teach me a lot of things that I really need to know. Anyway, so, big Goosebumps fan, as you can tell. My whole channel's based around that. I don't want to start with the Goosebumps books. I'll wait off a little bit later for that. But I do want to start with some of the things you guys have talked about with me and recommended to me. One of the biggest ones I get recommended all the time is this new Disney book series called Chills. And Disney Chills is basically taking villains from these, you know, these different Disney movies, these animated films and whatnot, and turning them into, like, middle grade horror books. From what I understand, I've heard they're really good. I don't know for sure. I have not checked these out. I've not read any of them yet. I really want to. I might try to experiment with some of them this November. I don't know. But we'll see what happens with that. I'm trying to get back on schedule with reading more for you guys, doing more book reviews for you. I would like to get through quite a few more Goosebumps books before the end of the year, before I start reading any things like Goosebumps stuff, but we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, so here's Disney Chills book number 1, Part of Your Nightmare by Vera Strange. This is pretty cool. I really dig these covers. I like how they all match up. They have like the kid of the story here, and then they have like the villain up here. Of course, that's Ursula, I believe is her name. What's that lady's name? Yeah, Ursula. So I'll read you the back of the book so you can have an example of what I'm talking about. 11-year-old Shelley Anderson just wants to be popular. Her parents have split, and she had to start over at a new school with different classes, a brand new swim team, and an unfamiliar social scene. So what if she just wants the cool kids to like her? Is that really too much to ask? So when Shelley finds a mysterious Nautilus shell? What in the world is that? Nautilus shell that summons the infamous sea witch Ursula, she jumps at the chance to make a deal that will solidify her as one of the coolest girls in school. But when Shelley's wish quickly goes belly up, she must figure out how to back out of the witch's deal before it forever binds her fate. Now, this is an asterisk moment here. I'm not a Disney guy at all. From what they have done... Okay, so let me start a little bit further. So I have been exposed to some things here and there. I can't stand like Alice in Wonderland. I can't stand Snow White. I did not grow up on those things. I do not like the animation style. I think they're boring movies. My personal favorite Disney movie, like their animated special stuff, this is before they bought Pixar. If they had bought Pixar at the time, I would say Toy Story, easily, the first Toy Story. But my personal favorite Disney film of all time, animated-wise at least, would be The Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Dom, whatever. It's amazing. I used to see the advertisements consistently on my Toy Story VHS, and I never saw that movie. I'll tell you right now, it rocked my world like 6 years ago, and I watched that for the first time. It was one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. I will never forget watching that on Netflix and being so blown away. Now, when you have things like Ursula, I have never seen The Little Mermaid. I may have seen it in like middle school, or not middle school, like elementary school. I've never remembered if I saw it or not. I have seen enough clips on TV, like Disney Channel when it still existed, about things like that. So I don't know if I've ever seen Ursula in action, if you will. But I know she's one of the most notorious, famous villains from Disney, and everybody loves her. And that's cool, whatever. But, I don't know. I'm curious how this is going to translate. The next book I have to show you from the Disney Chills books is a great example of why I'm a little thrown off by all this. Anyway, let me go to the back of the book and see how long this book is. It looks like it's about 212 pages long, but the font is a little bit, it's somewhere just a little bit bigger, if you will, than a Goosebumps book for the font. So the book itself is a little bit thicker, but it probably reads about as fast as a Goosebumps book typically reads. I'm very curious about these. I never know when it comes to middle grade horror if somebody's overrating something because they're a young kid or they're an adult that's not experienced enough with that kind of subgenre. So I never really know. I hope it's good. I really do. But then I see ones like this that I'm a little clueless about. This is actually book 2. It's called Disney Chills, Fiends on the Other Side by Vera Strange. Now, what I'm curious about, this is where my problem comes in. I don't know who that guy is. I don't know who that guy is. I'm not a big Disney guy. From what they've done to Star Wars and to what else have they ruined? They've ruined Star Wars. They've ruined God, I can't remember everything they've touched and ruined in my life, but mainly Star Wars. I'm still holding that against them. So this one here, I don't know who that villain is. I don't know if this is from a newer Pixar-ish movie, aka newer Disney movie, that I don't know about, or what. I was thinking there's a newer Disney movie about the Day of the Dead celebration. I don't know. I could be dead wrong. I could be completely mixing that with DreamWorks or something. I don't know. I don't keep up with any of this stuff anymore. So I'll read the back of this one too. 12-year-old Jamal has always lived in the shadow of his twin brother Malik. All he wants in the world is to know just for one day what it's like to be his more popular, more talented, and more confident brother. So when a mysterious man named Dr. Facilier, I don't know who that is. That might be the Skeleton Man, I don't know, appears and offers Jamal the opportunity to do just that, Jamal jumps at the chance. But when he wakes up the next morning to find his dream has come true, he learns it comes at a terrible cost. There's a reason people say never make a deal with the Shadow Man. No, they say never make a deal with the devil. What are you talking about? Come on, Disney. I know you like to change urban legends and stuff like the Little Mermaid and Pinocchio, but come on. Anyway, and Jamal is about to find out what it is, what the price is. Whatever. I have a very low expectation for this book, I'm going to be honest with you. I hope it's good. I hope I'm very surprised. I hope I can come here and make a Things Like Goosebumps video to really tell you how excited I am that this book was good. It's about 200 pages once again, pretty solid font size, just like a Goosebumps book. I hope this is really good. I have a very rough feeling that it's not going to be good, and to pay $7 for this, I'm not very confident about it. But I hope it's good. I really do. I would like to see more middle-grade horror books like this exist. Yes, they can have their cliches, just like any subgenre of anything, or any genre of anything, like horror, sci-fi, anything. They have their genre cliches and whatnot. I know that's a thing. But I hope that middle grade gets more of a name out there, because it's not just nudity and blood. You know, with middle grade horror, they have to genuinely try to be scary or genuinely try to be funny with some horror concepts to them, like the Rotten Ruin series, which is more YA, but still. Anyway, this week I was at work, and one of the newer guys that I work with, his name is Ian, so Ian, if you happen to watch this video, thank you. Anyway, he recommended, he found out I'm not a dedicated video gamer, I've kind of tampered, whatever, this year with GTA San Andreas again. I haven't played it much in years, and I really wanted to get back into that. Last night I was playing it, as a matter of fact, before I went to bed. And I will tell you this, I absolutely love Five Nights at Freddy's. I think a lot of people hate it because of the kind of repetitive nature of it, but I think a lot of people think it's genuinely not scary. I think there's a great atmosphere there mixed in with scary jump scares, which is something James Wan pulls off. Good atmosphere, utilizes jump scares well. And people love James Wan, and for some reason the audience has become more hateful towards Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know what the deal is with that. Yeah, it's not perfect. Now, they have 2 different book series, really 3 if you count the comic books and graphic novel adaptations and all that. They started out with a series that began with a book called The Silver Eyes, which I did a Things Like Goosebumps video here for on the channel. I have the second book, called The Twisted Ones, and the first book was so bad, I just haven't gotten around to reading this. It's literally been sitting there on the shelf for years, like 2 or 3 years now. I know there's like 4 of that series or 5 of that series. I did not know that they started a new book series that's more of a Goosebumps type of thing. Like more of a middle grade type of thing. Not like, this is kind of a YA series, if you will, The Silver Eyes and whatnot. It can have kind of gorier things about it, but the need to expand the book so much that you have characters constantly returning to the Five Nights at Freddy's building, or Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, whatever it's called. It's been so long since I played the games and whatnot, I can't remember. But still, the fact that they have characters making stupid decisions, like returning to that freaking Chuck E. Cheese ripoff like 3 times in that first book was enough to tell me, no, I don't need this anymore. However, apparently there was a new series called Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Frights. I didn't know this. I was at Walmart yesterday, and I picked up 2 of the books. I did not realize how many have come out already. So I guess this is the new Goosebumps series, pretty much. Of course, we have Slappy World, but this is kind of like the thing that's more popular nowadays. I don't know. Fazbear Frights #1, Into the Pit by Scott Cawthon and Ellie Cooper. I'm assuming Scott Cawthon, of course, the creator of the games himself, has probably outlined each book, and whoever comes along as a side author Well, it says Ellie Cooper's on this book too, but we'll get there in a minute. It looks like one person writes the book, the other one outlines, and I'm assuming it's kind of like a James Patterson type of thing. Anyway, I could be wrong, and my friend Ian from work could be wrong, but he swears that every single book is a standalone book. And there's a new Five Nights at Freddy's game coming out apparently sometime soon. I don't know if that's true or not. Haven't really looked at the trailer yet, even though he told me about it too when we talked about this. I'm hoping these are good. I really have a good hope for these, because he also read the Silver Eyes, the Twisted Ones, that whole original series, and he didn't like those either. The graphic novels with the comic art look horrible. I wanted to get a copy of that to review for the channel too, and I just could not bring myself to spend 10 bucks on that. I'm sure at other places it was probably 15 and 20 bucks, but at like Sam's Club it was like 10 bucks, and I was like, I cannot spend that kind of money on that, because of how awful the art was. If I had bought it based on the cover online, like on Amazon, and had not known what kind of cover art we had inside of that book, I would have been livid if I had gotten that and spent that kind of money on it. Anyway, I am pretty confident this is going to be more of a... He says this is more of like a Goosebumps type of thing. He knew I would have an interest in that. He knew about the channel, I think. I think I've talked to him about that before, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, he knows I'm a Goosebumps fan. It says this is about 200 pages long. Of course, it's got a little bit of a longer book length. Like, this is taller than a Goosebumps book, but the font and whatnot is probably not much longer than a typical Goosebumps book. Point is, I hope this is good. I did not realize how many of these there are. I did not realize that. I just now looked, and okay, it says that this came out copyright 2020 for book number 1. However, the only other book that I picked up yesterday, that was sitting right beside it, mind you, was book number 9. If they have put out like 10 of these books this year, I'm just going to be dumbfounded by that. I will absolutely be dumbfounded, because of course Mr. R.L. Stein has slowed down a lot. I don't know if he still writes the books. He says he does, but I don't know. He's putting out one every like 3 or 4 months, you know? And there's like some side things here and there. If a movie comes out, you'll get like a couple of interesting games, or a couple of interesting like books with some cool stuff in it, some information about the movie, that kind of thing. So typically, if it's a year without a Goosebumps movie, you typically just have 3 books that come out that year. This is book number 9, The Puppet Carver, which immediately sold me, because if you guys know my love for Slappy, you know I love ventriloquist dummies. I have all of my life because of Night of the Living Dummy 3, the TV episode of Goosebumps. And I'll tell you this, I'm immensely curious about this. I have 8 more books to read until I can get to this one. And now if these are standalone books, that'd be great. But I think I do want to read them in order, just to see they improve. I don't know if Ellie Cooper wrote all of these books or not. I just don't know. I'm trying to look on the front of the book right now to see if there are any lists of the other books. I don't think there are. But I will say this, dude, I love these cover arts. I think these are kind of simple, but kind of nice, you know? I love Five Nights at Freddy's. I hope this is good. I do want to finish reading like the Twisted Ones and the series all surrounding around Silver Eyes. I want to read those first, just because I want to get them out of the way. And of course, I'm still waiting on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I've been waiting forever for that. I really want it to come out. It's never going to happen. But I hope the new game, if it's existent, I hope it's good, you know? But yeah, I'm curious about this one too. It says it's about 200 pages, just shortly over that, basically. I hope this is really good. I hope you guys are enjoying these too. If you are, please let me know. I'd love to know that down in the comment section. It's interesting to me that we have so many new middle grade horror book series out. We have Mary Downing Hahn, which is probably more popular now than she ever was. She puts out some pretty decent stuff. If you haven't read Took from Mary Downing Hahn, you should absolutely read that. You have the Chills books from Disney. You have these Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Frights books, plus the YA books like Silver Eyes. You have so many cool things. And on top of that, Goosebumps is still a thing. It's still a thing, and it's great. I'm really enjoying it. I was so excited recently. I saw that, God, I cannot remember any other YouTubers' names anymore because of how bad my young age Alzheimer's has basically started up. Oh my God. Anyway, I have people that post different videos and different shorts and things like that here on YouTube. And one of the things I saw were people talking about double books. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I had briefly seen these a while back, like months ago. Apparently it was months ago. I think it was months ago. It could be a month ago for all I know. Anyway, it was long enough ago that I forgot who put it up or whatever. But anyway, I was in Walmart when I picked up all of these books. As a matter of fact, I bought all of this from Walmart, which was like I don't know how much I spent, like maybe over 50 bucks, 60, 70. I hadn't bought anything in a while, so I thought, okay, I'll just pick up some books. And I happened to come across this, and I was like, this is one of those things, like the Give Yourself Goosebumps Special Edition books, that back in the day when those were coming out, they slipped through the cracks. People either didn't know they were out there or they couldn't find them because of limited press or limited release or anything like that. And they just slipped through the cracks and they're lost. And here we are, like almost 30 years later. Well, yeah, about 30 years later. And it's hard to find them, you know? And right here, we have a double book. A double book. If you're a Goosebumps collector, you need to pick these up now, because I'd be willing to bet later on down the road it's going to be gone. Just, if my YouTube channel is still up in the future, that's my warning. It's probably going to be gone. This is Goosebumps Slappy World, 2 books in 1, and this has the first book and the second book in it, Slappy Birthday to You and Attack of the Jack. For $12.99, you had 2 books in there. Granted, the cover looks terrible. It's like a box set cover that you'd get off Amazon or a bootleg site. Pretty thick book. It's 2 of the Slappy World books put together. Usually these Slappy World books have been somewhere around the ballpark of like 160 pages each. So this one is about 279 in total pages for the 2 books put together. It's very clean. It doesn't feel like a Goosebumps book paper quality, so I think that's a little odd, you know? But that's pretty neat, you know? For $11.57 on sale, I guess, compared to the $12.99 it was. That's pretty neat for the collection. I'm excited I picked this up. It's a good little thing to have a part of my collection. There's also 2 of these, as far as I know. I don't know if there's a 3rd one or a 4th one yet, but there's also a second one that I found tucked away. This is 2 books in 1. Book 3 and 4. I am Slappy's evil twin, and please do not feed the weirdo. Yeah, books 3 and 4. This is a blue shade of a cover. Pretty neat. Really enjoy that. Yeah, thicker book. Like I said. Let's see, how many pages are in this one? Roughly 267. Then it has an advertisement for Judy and the Beast, which Judy and the Beast came out after 5th Grade Zombies. This one had an advertisement for 5th Grade Zombies. This one has an advertisement for Judy and the Beast. So maybe the next one that gets released is around the time that whatever the next book is. I think it's Slappy and Dream World, or Dreamland. Slappy and Dreamland. I'm pretty sure it's called Slappy and Dreamland. When that comes out, maybe we'll get the 3rd book of this. I don't know. I haven't looked up anything. I don't know if these are listed on Amazon or not. I have not checked out. This might be a Walmart exclusive. I don't know. It doesn't say it is, but maybe it is. Anyway, I've got those for the collection. I'm really glad I picked these up. Whoever, I cannot remember your name, whoever posted the shorts and stuff on the different YouTuber channels for Goosebumps, thank you for posting those. I don't know who was doing it. There's a lot of guys doing different things in the community right now that I'm subscribed to. But whoever posted those things, thank you for letting me know about these whenever it was a while back. I'm glad to have these part of my collection, because like I said, that's going to slip through the cracks one of these days, and it's going to be gone, and people are going to be looking for that for the collectors in the future. So, there you have it. Anyway, I've got one more book here for you guys. I'm very curious about this, and I'm hoping that I'm having the same experience that I had with Mary Downing Hahn. I have read 2 Mary Downing Hahn books. This is not a Mary Downing Hahn book, but I'll use her for my example. The first book I ever read from her was called, like, The Doll in the Shoebox or something, and it was really bad. It was just, I don't want to say bad. It was meh, you know? It was a very bland book. Kind of a haunted doll in a shoebox in a garden type of thing. And the ending was really weak. Wasn't a very good book at all. But Mary Downing Hahn seems to be getting more and more popular as time goes on as a middle grade / children's horror writer. She doesn't have the comedy appeal that Stein has. She writes a very serious book. Now, I did read a second book from her at one point that I had already bought called Took. And Took was amazing. Like I said earlier, I recommend that book extremely highly. Now, Scholastic has an author that I read a book from. He has like 3 books now. This is the 3rd one. He might have a 4th coming out, I don't know. Or she, or whoever this is. I have not read the first book. I did read the second book. It's basically a ripoff of Stephen King's It. Yes, the author is K.R. Alexander. This book I picked up, I have not read the back blurb to. I do plan on reading it at some point because it's a highly promoted author from Scholastic. Now that It ripoff, I would have been fine with if it had not filled itself with SJW propaganda for kids. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's insane. Kids just need a scary story. Plain and simple. They don't need anything else. They just need a scary story or a funny story. That's what they need, in my personal opinion. Scholastic is making the wrong kind of decisions with that It ripoff they made. And the lies in the back of that book saying that somebody else had given K.R. Alexander the ideas for that story. And everything from the cover, everything from the cover looking just like Skarsgård himself, to the actual story's content itself being just vaguely different, of a clown monster haunting a bunch of kids in a town. It is so close to being an It story. It's ridiculous. Now, with that being said, I like to give people a couple of chances when it comes to their books. Dean Koontz, Stephen King, they have some bad books out there. Some real bad books. Jonathan Mayberry, my second favorite author behind Stein, has some bad books out there. Brian Keene, one of my favorite horror writers of all time. In my opinion, one of the best writers for the horror splatterpunk community, has some bad books out there. Richard Lehman, one of the most notorious slasher thriller writers of all time, has some bad books out there. People are going to have bad books, and I'm hoping that K.R. Alexander can impress me with this book. I'm going to read it. I hope it's good. I hope it is. I genuinely bought this wanting a good book, and if it's being promoted to where it's in Walmart stuff, I'm hoping it's not just an agenda push, you know? I hope it's a genuinely good book. This is called The Undrowned. I like the cover. The cover looks cool. Oh, I know what it is. That It ripoff book is called The Fear Zone. Yeah. The first book K.R. Alexander had ever put out was called The Collector. I have not read that. If this is good, I'll pick up The Collector. I'll be honest with you. I'll go ahead and pick that up if this is any good. Now, this book is roughly 218 pages, but it has like the same exact font size as a Goosebumps book. Here, I'll read the back of it for you. Samantha and Rachel used to be friends, but then Rachel betrayed Samantha, and Samantha decided to make her life a living nightmare. Then one day, Samantha and Rachel found themselves in a fight by a lake. Samantha pushed Rachel and watched as Rachel fell back, and back, into the water and gone. No way to save her. No way she could be alive. The next day, Rachel shows up to school as if nothing happened, and now she's the one who wants to make her former friend's life a living nightmare. Again, K.R. Alexander. This could be very, very bland. This could be bad. This could be good. This could be a good book, depending on what he or slash she, whatever K.R. Alexander is. Whatever K.R. Alexander does with this book is going to determine whether I pick up any more of their stuff. Because Scholastic's losing me a lot here lately with what they've allowed IDW to do with comic books for Goosebumps. I have like no respect left for them. I'm so thankful Stein has not jumped on this agenda push train that everybody else is doing. I'm not saying this will be an agenda book either. I just hope it's a good book. I want another good book. I like reading good books, and I hope that this is a good one. This has potential, to me, to be a very good, simple story. And that's the thing I think a lot of authors are missing when they're writing books, whether it be for middle grade audiences or adult audiences. Just make the story simple. It doesn't need to be overly complex. It doesn't need to be overly scientific or have the most Joss Whedon-y like humor that you could possibly make. They don't have to be like that. Just make a simple, fun story. If you make it scary, that's a big bonus. If you make it funny, that's a big bonus. I don't like really both mixed entirely together, but if you can do a little bit of one or the other, I'm fine with that too. I really worry about that. And I hope that K.R. Alexander does something really good here. And I hope I can come back and tell you how great this is. Because stuff like The Fear Zone, the It ripoff, that was that last book I talked about, was one of my most popular videos on the channel. I would say that The Fear Zone feels like a committee book. Like a bunch of people got together told, hey, this is exactly how we need to write this book to fit into everybody entirely on the entire face of the Earth's population, planet, interest. That's how we have to write that book. That's what it felt like, a committee book. Very much like the new Star Wars movies feel like committee movies, you know? I don't like that. I have no respect for that. So I hope this is good. I really hope The Undrowned, is a good book. Along with everything else I picked up in the collection here that I showed you for this book haul. Anyway, that's the last book I had for you. That is the haul of books that I picked up right here for you guys. Not for you guys, but for me. To show you guys is what I meant. What do you think about these? Have you read any of these books? Have you read all of them? What do you think about all of these? Let me know down in the comment section down below, just in case you want to know and you happen to make it to the last end of this video. I would say that I have read and reviewed... Come on, Mr. Motorcycle, you serious? That wasn't a lawnmower for once. That was an absolute motorcycle flying down the street. Anyway, I have read and reviewed all 4 of those Goosebumps Slappy World books I showed here. I don't remember all the titles, but I reviewed all of them. I reviewed every Slappy World book released up until now, which is October of 2021. So, check them out if you're a big fan of Goosebumps and Slappy World and everything else. Please subscribe if you want to see some reviews for these books at some point. I'm going to try to get around to it because I need to. I want to. There's some cool things I think people deserve to hear some talking about. People deserve to have their books promoted a little bit more. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and happy Halloween. Today is Halloween. I hope you have a great time. Please be careful. Do not talk to strangers. Don't get in their cars. None of that good stuff. Bad stuff. None of that bad stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching. God bless you. Goodbye.